Tell Matt Walsh to debate me on the moon landing. Right? And by the way, let me take this time. Everyone should definitely jump on X and then follow me. I'm about to try to glitch out the matrix on there if I can. But so like help me out and follow me on X. That's Witsit Getsit on X.
For people that are interested in logical debate, you are in for a treat. I mean, witnessing Austin Witsit debate is like watching prime Michael Jordan play basketball.
Field.
Yeah, I can easily explain that, but we're gonna actually conclude the first point you're trying to get away from, which is you asked how there's a gas pressure gradient. I explained you can't even have a change in pressure, delta X, without X, the antecedent to gas pressure is containment. That we can replicate a gas pressure gradient inside of a container, especially whenever you're introducing gas to the surface level constantly, which is what we observe on the Earth, and that we have a vertical electric gradient that results in a downward electric current that is provable, testable, measurable. We can run generators off of it. You guys just deny it. So that is a fact. And then I said, well, you can't even have the antecedents for the pressure to have the gradient in the first place, so that it backfired and you can't support it. You responded with the straw man fallacy saying, oh, now we don't have a gradient, so I can't go to the top of Mount Everest with different air. No, I literally explained how you could have the gradient and how you could only have the gradient on a plane Earth that's contained. So then you tried to change the subject. So would you like to conclude that you can't actually demonstrate it? We can demonstrate it and Flat Earth takes the dub again, and then we can move to the next point? Is that what you want to do?
No, because they're none of my questions. So let's go back to the one where I was talking about gravity.
You want to talk about science, I can scientifically test what I'm saying. I can take an object that's more dense than the air. I can drop it. It goes down. Then I can use a Van de Graaff generator to introduce electrostatics. I can make the object levitate and or just go up. I can change its weight. I can change how fast it falls with electrostatics. All objects that exist are electrostatic. The air is electrostatic. Even in a vacuum, there's electrostatics. So I've now scientifically proven that electrostatics will change the weight of an object, how fast it falls, and its direction. Now, can you do the same thing with gravity? Can you give me an experiment that actually isolates gravity and proves it's the cause?
Okay, I'm ready to go to questions. I'm actually like, this is exactly how I thought it was going to go, and I'm not thrilled about this.
The way we establish elevation is we measure a vertical distance above the perpendicular horizontal baseline. That's how we measure elevations. Has nothing to do with the curved Earth. I can pull up the government official engineering site right now that says for up to 100 square miles, all engineering assumes that the Earth is flat and uses plane survey. All of it. It is not in any way. How can you build a bridge assuming the Earth is curved? He said it himself that it's curved, you just can't tell. It's close enough. So in reality, plane survey is how we get maps, distances, how we do engineering. The globe claims, oh, well, if we stitch them all together over a distance, I promise it would be curving. Let me actually change the radius by 15%, assume refraction, assume the curvature, throw out all the other measurements, cook the books, and then if I get within 80%, somehow that proves that the Earth's a ball, and then they hijack the horizon, which is optical, and claim that it's physical. And everything that I'm saying is a fact, okay? And that's why we have to assume the Earth is flat to get elevation. And that's why we have to assume the Earth is flat to build things. Because if you assumed it was a globe, it wouldn't work. These are all facts. I'm going to really drive this home for the last 3 minutes. Einstein, Hubble, Hawking, Arthur Eddington, you name them, Wolfgang Pauli, they all explain you can't prove that the Earth is moving from the Earth. You cannot, including stellar aberration. And they will tell you point blank that they can create a model for you that explains alleged parallax, which doesn't actually happen, retrograde motion, stellar aberration, all in a geocentric model with the Earth stationary. And you cannot prove that it's spinning or revolving on the Earth itself. It's impossible. Stephen Hawking in 2007 explained it. quoting Einstein from his writings in Special and General Theory of Relativity, his paper on the combined two theories, explaining that you cannot prove that the Earth is spinning. They choose to believe in the Copernican principle because they have a religion. That triggers people because they think they hate religion, they hate God oftentimes. But that is a religion. It's a belief system built upon the doctrine of men, void of empirical, verifiable evidence, and in fact contrary and antithetical to the actual evidence. Despite what the evidence says, I just now read him point blank say it can never be disproven. We disregard that possibility because of the horror of a special and unique position. Right? And I have plenty of quotes here from geocentrists or heliocentrists explaining you can never prove it. You can't prove that the Earth is or that the Earth is not stationary. But we don't want to believe that because that would mean the Earth is special. So then what do? We go look out at the background distribution, the energy coming away from the Earth. It shows the Earth's in the center. So what do? They call it the axis of evil. And then they come up with a new idea. Well, oh, it does look like we're the center, but that must mean that no matter where you are in the universe, it would look like you're in the center. Or we're just in the center. They don't want to say what it is because it has spiritual implications. It has philosophical ramifications. And that is that the Earth had to be placed there. It has a special, unique position. But this is the point. This is the problem. It's portrayed as science. And we're brainwashed and indoctrinated with this idea as if it is science and it's proven and it's not questionable. And you actually go look behind the curtain. It's philosophy. And they admit it. Everyone should agree, right? Like, if you're lying, then we have the right to know. And so when these people start watching what we're about to go through, they're going to avoid it. They're going to ignore all of it. They're going to try to gas you about everything else. That should be evidence that those people can't actually look at the evidence for what it is, right? So that should be pretty telling. People come in here and they're going to want to like talk about anything other than this, right? Like, oh, you think the Earth's flat or whatever they want to talk about. Because this makes them so uncomfortable. Tim Peake, supposedly in orbit. Now, what you'll see is that he's got this little ball here, and then we see that he's doing the similar thing on the ISS with an object. He's doing a similar thing in front of the blue screen. Now, you see right here, this is the same type of screen that they use for different like news stations, right? So what did they do after people caught them after the fact? They then show that screen. Look at that. What is that dude doing? Look at the scene. So obviously you can just make it look like you're somewhere that you're not with a green screen. Hollywood does it all the time.
Thanks, is ruined.
Yeah, NASA is a fraudulent company. So go to auditnasa.com if you want to be a part of it. That's also the same type of setup with a community. And we'll bring you in as long as you're kind of vetted and make sure we know you're real. Flat Earth Fridays on Twitter. Shout out to them. They're a bunch of legends. And I vibe with them tough. So, if, you want to go debate it, you want to go talk about it every Friday. I think it's roughly 8 p.m. Eastern, and it goes for many hours on Twitter Spaces, Flat Earth Fridays. Shout out to them. They're legends. But ironically, you were just taking shots at me saying something about the source of a creative force, which is actually intelligent, because just like Nikola Tesla said, you have the luminiferous ether, and then what he called the prana from Eastern philosophy, of course, which is the life-giving force. And just because that triggers you because there may be a creator doesn't mean it's not true. The antecedent to creation is a creator, the antecedent to motion is a force, and the antecedent to a torus field is a source of that torus field, which means there is something in the center. You couldn't have what we have without something causing the energy that would cause everything to move around it. So what I'm acknowledging is an antecedent, giving you an actual intellectual viable way to test it, which would be non-proportionate mass relationships. That's what everything shows us. It confirms what I say, but then you can base us believe in like
dark flow, some area outside the universe that somehow changes everything, dark matter, dark energy, the inflaton, ignore the Hubble tension problem, ignore the flatness problem, ignore the horizon problem, and somehow your position is superior? It makes no sense. It's clearly just a double standard. You have a bias because you need to conform to consensus, right? The weak find contentment. Let me say this one last statement. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance.
The last time I saw FTFE debate with Witsit, he literally had a heart problem.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
We had to call the whole thing off. It was actually kind of tragic.
It was, bro. It totally was. And that man was reading the chat the whole time that time, too.
But yeah, that's literally what happened.
Dude, that's when he said, he said, you're so wrong about relativity. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't understand. I'm like, how am I wrong? He said, I don't know how you're wrong, but I know for a fact that you are.
Think about this. So this is the resurgence of flat Earth has been what, like maybe 7 years or something like that. Think about the stuff that we figured out, bro. So we're like a super censored group of people all around the world, scattered without the funding, completely shut out of all possibility to learn things. And think about how much we've already figured out. 7 years. We're talking about a conglomerate of people in power with all the money, all the resources, all the textbooks for hundreds of years. Yeah. And this is the best they could come up with, right? So yeah, in a way, if you look at it like in a still shot, you're like, oh, it's pretty good. Like, it kind of matches the sky. It's like, oh, well, no, it took them hundreds of years to look at the sky over and over and then make it and then change it and then change it again and then add another wobble and now it kind of matches, right? Like, but it does look like from the outside, it looks like, oh, this is a brilliant lie. But really, it's okay. And there's all kinds of answers to that question, by the way. Like the number one way to brainwash someone is to make them deny their senses. So if you remember, like the whole pandemic situation, everyone was like scared of what keeps them. They thought what would keep them alive would kill them, right? And so if you can make someone believe the opposite of what the truth is, what they experience, then you can brainwash them. It's like a really old practice. It's black magic. And so they got everyone thinking, oh, I never feel like I'm moving, but I'm moving. And I see the sun and the moon move, but they're not moving. And the sun looks like it moves in the sky, but actually it's sitting still. And I'm just falling backwards in a sunset. I just can't tell. And the horizon, which is where the word horizontal came from, is of course horizontal and flat, but actually it's curved. You just can't tell. The sun and the moon appear to be the same size, but actually the sun's 400 times bigger than the moon, just coincidentally exactly 400 times further away also, so it looks like that. So whenever you can't trust your senses at all, you actually have to turn to an authority to tell you what's up, right? And so that's how you condition someone to make them a slave. You're like, oh, I can't even figure out the basic stuff. Everything I experience is the opposite of the truth according to these people, so I need them to tell me I'm not smart enough to figure it out. And then they just brainwash you. I mean, that's just one of like, there's probably like 20 different answers to this question, to be real.
Electrostatic, it isn't a field pulling it down. It just sets the up and down, and then density separates the rest for the 50th time.
Density is just a relative. It doesn't have a vector to it.
Yeah. No, but the vector comes by the electrostatic.
Electromagnetism works in all directions. It doesn't work. I'm sorry. It doesn't go.
It's really electric forces that hold our world together.
Like I said, you can.
Do we have an electric gradient on the Earth? Yes or no?
The electric gradient, like I said, it increases a lot.
Non sequitur.
But you said it comes in every direction.
It's not a non-sequitur because
it doesn't matter the strength. It doesn't matter what the strength is. It's that it sets it up and down.
It varies wildly, and gravity doesn't
matter. Doesn't matter. It's always more. It's always more. It's always more positive above.
It's really electric forces that hold our world together.
The Earth, everywhere on the Earth.
Even if it varies wildly across the planet, it can still account for a stable 9.8. Give you accurate predictions about the reality.
But it doesn't. It doesn't give us accurate predictions.
It says.
Are you kidding me?
It's off by 95% on the cosmological scale, and it's off on the quantum scale.
Well, that's a different thing. I'm talking.
No, it's not a different thing. It's the same thing. It's literally the same thing.
I'm talking about astrophysics now. I'm talking about general relativity has never really been falsified.
It literally has, though.
Well, show me what's
Okay, dark matter, dark energy,
that
expansion
doesn't
rate, the lack of
falsify general relativity.
What? Because you added something to make your model work, and then
relativity
you
made
on
a
that
prediction.
proof.
Listen, it's accurate on the local scale because it's downward acceleration, which is an agreed upon
It
average.
can't
That is
be the electric field. Absolutely
Can't be. Cannot be.
You're afraid to hear me
It
lay
can't.
out.
Cannot be.
Listen, you can have a magnet and a diamagnetic object, right? The magnet's going to get bent by an electric field and it's going to slow down.
Non sequitur.
It's not a non sequitur. You can't. We know that things fall at the same. I mean, come on. I mean, electric fields don't work.
Hey, if I drop a magnet over top of an area, the ground that has more metal composition, does it drop faster or slower, or exactly 9.8?
If there's no air resistance, it's all going to drop at 9.8.
That's incorrect. If I drop a magnet...
Yeah, I mean, this is sad. I mean, Bryant's not even... I mean, this is like, what, third graders or fourth graders do experiments with magnets? I forgot what year we did these experiments. This guy doesn't even know what magnetism is? Is that the problem here?
The electric force, the magnetic force, and the force of gravity. There's more than just one force.
Gravity's a pseudoscientific fairy tale that needs to explain the convexity of the ocean bending around the
ball.
ball.
Debate Austin. Is that why you brought him on, Dave? So you got some ace in the hole, flat earther?
Ace in the hole? Like, what does that mean? So he acknowledges his own obliteration? So did he called Austin an ace in the hole? So, like, look at his face here. Like, his narcissism couldn't handle being obliterated, so now he's attacking Dave for bringing Austin on. Again, just in terms of pure argumentation, I have not ever seen anybody as good as Austin Witsit, and I would say he doesn't even have a close second right now. People want to give me props, but I don't think so. I don't think I would be able to defeat Austin Witsit in any debate on any subject. He would probably be my number one pick for any debate on any subject, just because of his command of logic and logical fallacies. Nothing to do with flat earth, of course, just mentioning logic.